a couple female comedians in the Fort Collins scene. There was like a chick that was a teacher or a math teacher. There was Chris.
I feel like I remember
Chris
her.
September.
Yeah.
She was awesome. She was hung out with Miles.
Kristen, right?
Yeah. And then there was like this chick that would come around she was like a stripper, and all her jokes were about how she was a stripper and she had like
Classic.
cans and like
Classic
tribal
comedy.
tattoos. And she would bring like her 15-year-old daughter with her to Mike's. And then like there was a whole thing, like I remember on Facebook, like she posted like after I had already like moved out of Fort Collins and moved to Italy and shit. Like I looked on Facebook and like there was a whole thing of like a video where her dude that she would bring with her to shows was like predator, like a child predator, and like hooked up with her kid and stuff. And like I can't remember the names of anything, but it was like a whole thing.
That's fine. We would have to bleep them out or some shit.
But it was like a whole thing on Facebook where she did like she held up papers that had like the whole thing read out of like the incidents and shit, and like Enya playing in the background or Sarah McLachlan, and it was like a whole big thing. Like he was come to shows and prey on little kids and shit.
This is like a great idea for a fucked up sitcom.
Yeah, I think it's like
a stripper and her pedophile boyfriend going to open mics across the country.
Yeah, and taking her kid.
Coming to NBC this fall.
On the WB.
Yeah, they'd be on UPN. They'll bring back UPN to put that one on. That's like or maybe like for an Adult Swim sort of.
Yeah.
Maybe if you did it animated pedophilia, a little more palatable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or put the orange foot on it.
I mean, Japan has figured that out.
Stamp a Nickelodeon orange foot on it and say produced by Dan Schneider, and there you go.
Yeah. Fuck yeah, dude.
Like it would Kids' Choice Awards for days.
Yeah. I don't know what to do with all these Kids' Choice Awards. They're piling up in the.
Nickelodeon is manufacturing child.
Yeah, I barely have room for the child porn with all these Teens' Choice Awards.
Like I swear, Nickelodeon manufactured. They're like Manchurian candidates for sex slaves. Like,
yeah, what was that show, The Temple of Doom or whatever, where they had the Booga Ooga guys?
Legends of Jeffrey Epstein's Temple.
Yeah, that's what it was.
It's just 20 Latvian girls trying to swim to the coast and drowning.
Yeah, like try to find food in the closet before the monster gets you. You got slimed. Whoops.
My money's on the silver barracudas.
They were just getting the kids used to getting slimed. They just dumped that shit on them. Like, you're going to get sticky in adulthood. You're going to get sticky. You got to get used to it. It's conditioning. It's Pavlovian.
Yeah.
The first obstacle is wading through a river of cum.
Yeah.
There's going to be Slimegate pretty soon here, and we're going to go back and find these kids.
Is it kind of weird
Amanda
that, like,
Bynes and
after all
Kenan
this
Thompson.
time and all this shit that goes down on Nickelodeon, like, the only person that is really, like, a good human being, it turns out, and, like, a damaged human being, and, like, you really kind of want to support the guy is Mark Summers. Like,
yeah, no.
Like, he's a decent guy.
No, I
like,
feel
watching Double Dare and shit, you're like, this dude's fucking
dude,
crazy.
I feel terrible
because
he was
on Unwrapped.
Wholesome as fuck. That
when
guy.
He would show me how bubblegum was made. That was my childhood. I think we're talking about the same guy. I don't know.
Fuck if I know. I guess we'll introduce to the listeners that
okay.
Yes, we have Aleister Crowley here on the podcast with us tonight, and he's going to
Dan
explain
Schneider.
to us what happened in Italy and why there is no real Church of Thelema anymore.
There is. I spent the night there.
Oh, you did?
Oh, really?
I squatted on the ruins for like 2 weeks.
Did you know?
Go on, dude. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, like, you have to take a ferry to the island where it's at, and it's...
By take a ferry, do you mean ritualistically fuck a young man?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
On a boat.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Keep
going.
So you have to take a boat over there, and then what the town has actually done is actually they put up signs dissuading you from where it is. And kind of like they fuck with you because they don't want people going there and being like, oh, we're going to tag with satanic symbols and shit. But if you talk to people in town and let them know that, like, hey, I'm a traveler, I'm camping, I'm not here to take acid and fuck on his altars and shit.
Yeah.
Like the people,
Sniff the goat blood.
like the park rangers and shit and caretakers will be like, yeah, come on, we'll show you where it is. And it's basically just a house now. It's with no roof, no windows. It's just 4 walls. And if you look close enough, you can find a plaque on the rock that says, "This is the Abbey of Thelema, blah, blah, blah. Aleister Crowley here, blah, blah, blah." The townsfolk don't want this place that was this sex dungeon, weird fucking cultic thing in a town that is monumentally Catholic.
Right.
Like,
They must really be afraid of it though, because they could just build over it, put a garden there, put a
well, that's
make
the
it
thing.
into something else.
That's the thing.
They don't have any money.
They don't have money, and it's a very, very lazy country when it comes to infrastructure. Like, fucking parts of Detroit I would rather live in parts of Detroit than fucking set one foot back in Italy ever again. Like, I'll never go back to
That bad?
It's fucking bad.
They're still using the Roman aqueducts. The plumbing's terrible.
Yeah, in parts of it they are.
Really?
Yeah. There's
Goddamn, I
parts
thought you were fucking kidding. I was like,
I did too, but-
good joke, Alan.
There's literally parts of Italy, like, you can travel there and go to the council and say, I would like a house, and they'll give you a house for €1. As long as you'll
Explains
fucking,
why Crowley went there, doesn't it?
pretty much, yeah. But they'll say, hey, as long as you fix this up, like, it's yours. If within 2 years you insure it and make it a house and you live here, you can have it. And that's kind of what my situation was in Ravenna. Like, they gave me what used to be a World War II era first aid station right on the train. At the train station, you walked up about a quarter mile, and there was another little building for triage when sick people would come in or people from war. There was showers. There was a medical exam area. There was like a little kitchenette. And they're like,
That's hilarious
take care
to
of
think
it.
that you, like-
as long as we don't have to pay to fix it.
It's hilarious that you
can
got
have
off a train, walked to the nearest building. You were like, this is mine. And the Italian government was like, yes, that's fine.
Yeah, as soon as they found out, they were like, no, you don't have to leave. Like go here and tell them you're here. And I was
Yeah,
like,
as long as you're not a
okay.
raccoon, as long as you can prove you're not a raccoon.
And
the
imagine
place is
with
yours.
that laissez-faire attitude, how much hell Crowley had to raise to actually get kicked out.
Yeah, it's amazing
pasture.
because they're so like, you know how many police officers tried to buy drugs from me or sell me drugs in Italy? Like, every city has between 6 and 7 different types of police forces. And like, they're all in charge of different things, and they're
Are you talking
all
about
corrupt.
like one's like parking and one's
No,
like
one is like the financial police, one's the military police, one's the community police, one is the criminal police, and one is like the domestic terror police. They all have different cars, and they all drive around. And like, after about 10 o'clock at night,
just driving around in circles like bumper cars, just
yeah, pretty much
slamming into
And
each other
when you call,
like
you
finances.
call for an emergency, which I had to do numerous times. You have to wait hours for them to figure out who they're going to send, who's
That sounds
working that
horribly
time.
inefficient.
It is, and it's just a way for them to.
But that's got it. I have to assume that's like a remnant of
Your house
like
is on
Mussolini
fire,
fascism,
they accidentally
where
set
they're
Catholicism, yeah.
it's and Catholicism, which are both like impenetrable bureaucracies on some level. Like, you know, it's like there are pathways in the Vatican where you can go, and then but I have like whatever percentage of it, it's like not even the Pope is allowed to go down there without getting like co-signed by an archangel or whatever the fuck.
But imagine like your kid just got kidnapped and you call the police and all they have available is like narcotics people. They come over stoned. Like, hey, what's up?
And if
Like,
your
my
kid,
kid just got kidnapped. They're like,
do you want any
you
drugs
want some
or
bud? Yeah.
and if your kid does get kidnapped, it would probably be about 6 to 8 months before a police officer even interviewed you about it. Like,
fuck?
I got in trouble in Italy, and they told me it would be 3 years before I ever heard anything about it, before I even got contacted about it. And I was like, 3 years? Are you serious? And they're like, yeah, we have child molesters that have been waiting trial for 25 years that are still just out free.
This is what I'm saying. Like about
why did Tom Hanks go to Greece then? Fucking go to Italy.
Well,
this
Greece
is kinda-
is way more debauchery.
How-
Greece is sketchy as fuck.
Yeah, well, that's why Tom Hanks
Grease,
went.
Grease for 50 cents you can buy a person.
That seems
Like legit, you'll get
What
off
kind of a
you'll
person?
get off at a train station and gypsies will come up to you and offer to sell you their children for a couple of euros.
which is got to be a ploy. The kid goes back to your place, takes you for all you got, and then goes back to the family.
Yeah, but then
This
some,
is-
Yeah, I don't think you understood exactly what they're
Don't
not
get
selling
tricked
you
by
their
the-
daughter.
they're
It's a scam.
yeah, but when the child is an infant, that kid's not going to steal your shit. When
Yeah,
they come
the
up
old-
and hand you a baby,
The old
babies.
free
baby.
baby grift.
Well.
We've all seen that.
Listen,
unless they got GPS on that baby, like,
no,
Right,
you're
which
right.
they
50
clearly
cent
don't.
baby's a steal.
Yeah.
and a lot of times they're like,
But it's
"Here-
a Greek baby.
here's my 12-year-old daughter.
Greek gypsy baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's my 12-year-old daughter. You take her for the night. Do whatever you want.
Yeah, yeah.
Give me €3. It's that kind of situation.
Well, this is what I said.
Well, this is what happens when you reject the euro.
I'm Joshua, by the way.
Yeah, sorry. Joshua Forbes.
Welcome to the podcast, Joshua.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks
It
for
just
coming.
shows you how weak your economy will become if you refuse to submit to the EU. You'll start selling your kids for.
This is what I was saying about the, like, with the, whatever, quote unquote, like liberal update, like program update that you have. Like, if you just let those keep going, that's how you get into fascism. Like with the defund the police shit that's going on, they're like, what we need instead of police, like for most of these things, we could have wellness officers or like social workers or whatever. But they don't, it's not like they will never take away the police and give you social workers and wellness
Right.
clerks or whatever the fuck. They will just add those things onto the cops. And then you have like 7 fucking agencies that are running around, and it becomes an impenetrable bureaucracy that
Yeah, and it's a part of it
drives their economy into shit. And then
run
you
by
gotta,
corruption and then fucking the church and like tradition and private business.
Now they've got this social justice angle, because I think you don't even really need police most of the time now. If you go to a college campus or whatever, or even if I try to go to a restaurant, there are people who have no allegiance to any government. They don't work for they're not interns for the World Health Organization. They don't work for the CDC, and yet they are enforcing with all of their will some set of codes that they think are important.
but that's,
Somebody told me these are the laws and this is what I'm supposed to enforce.
well,
There
this-
are no laws, and no
Right.
one told you to
No,
enforce that.
that's the
Literally,
thing.
they just think that.
that's the thing is
we don't
like,
even need police anymore. We've got the social justice brigade
the task
in
is
any neighborhood.
not even the task, like the inevitability of the bureaucracy, as such, is that what you do over time is, without enforcing a goddamn thing, you do make everybody an intern for the CDC or the
Exactly,
World Health
yeah.
Organization. They don't have to be aware of it. You never have to shut up. You don't ever have to train them or anything.
We have a little gag going wherever. Every time we say CDC, he coughs, and,
and he's telling her to shut up.
and then we get a phone call.
He's
and
an
nobody
intern.
picks up, and
No, he's a double agent, dude. We're weeks away from him fucking calling me in and having me.
But from what I've heard,
arrested.
from what I've heard about China, it is very much self-police. Communities police themselves. Everyone's ratting on everybody. Families rat on their own.
Oh yeah.
That's what we're moving towards.
In Italy, it's very much like everywhere you go, it's like, don't call the cops. Like, if something happened, like, we'll help you handle it. Like, don't call
For the
them
love of
because,
God, don't get them involved.
Like, it's gonna be a pain in the ass. Like, somebody stole your cell phone. Okay, let's go find them. Like, let's go to the train station and watch people and see if we can decipher who did it.
Oh yeah,
And-
you got a
and
much
take
better
care of
chance to
it.
get. You never, even
That's-
in this country, you're not getting any stolen
Right.
property back for the most part.
I think I'm just I'm near the cutting edge of this, like in the U.S., where I've told people, like, if you call the cops, like, you're an asshole. Like,
You're entering into a contract with a company you don't want to fuck with.
right,
Yeah.
right, and to think this is of any benefit, like I've just seen the writing on the wall. I know that you're like, well, I want my neighborhood to be. It's like this. That's not what we're doing here. They're not here to make you safe. That
They're
wave
here to control
by a
you.
long time ago. It's
Like, they're here to control us.
yeah.
And that's the thing, is like,
There are some reasons, legitimate reasons to call the police, though. Like, say, for example,
Murder.
your girlfriend's asleep on the couch and you've got a lot of drugs in the apartment, and you go, is there someone who could shoot my girlfriend
Right. So
in the
yeah.
face right now because it's dark? And I was just wondering if someone could kill my girlfriend.
If you're like there's an alt-right protest. If we could call a couple guys and get them to crash a helicopter in a field miles away, who but the police are going to be able to fill that need in the community.
We were just wondering if anyone could make this truckload of cocaine disappear.
I will have to say that through my experiences with a country that is known for having, aside from the U.S., a European country that's known for having the most corrupt police forces in the world, they treated me wonderfully, like every time. And I dealt with them a lot. Like,
I've been to Italy once, and I'd not had any experiences with the police whatsoever, except for, I will tell you that, like, everybody drinks wine at night, goes to the fountains and drinks wine, and the cops drink with you.
yeah,
That's
like,
one thing I found wonderful.
there were numerous times when, you'd see just cops sitting on the hood of their car with a glass of wine. They're breaking bread, and you're walking by in the middle of the night, and they offer you a glass of wine.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
See,
This
that
is why
sounds delightful.
This is why the plumbing is terrible.
There was a time.
Because this is the casual
Yeah.
nature of this country.
There was a time during Milan Fashion Week where I stole a car and some cops raced with me. And we did drag races until they got off shift, and then they told me to park the car and leave.
That's amazing.
They
Yeah.
saw me break the window. They saw me get in the car and take this Fiat
They're like,
Panda.
you want to get lunch?
And they pulled up alongside me and they say, "Come on, American, let's race." And we just started bombing the streets. Like,
Why am I living here?
No, see,
I gotta go.
we should be like converting to some sort of like accelerationist, like philosophy, like you and I should, just because like it was like the thing like Terrence McKenna talked about, like about.
Immanentizing the eschaton? Is that what you
Yeah, immanentizing the eschaton. Yeah, no, he was like, where you want to be is a country like breaking down, like a society on the verge of revolution, because it's more fun. He's like, the coffee shops stay open all night, people are dancing in the street, it's fucking crazy. And he was like, that's the only place that I belong.
You want
that's
to
where
be
I
there
get
until
my
the
work done.
day before the revolution. And
Right.
then you want to
No,
skip
exactly.
town and go somewhere else.
But that's the thing is we have a while here in America before, like we're just at the beginning of that kind of breakdown, wouldn't you say? Like,
yeah,
it's.
I mean, but
We have a lot more bureaucracy to institute before it kind of goes off the rails, and then that's where we kind of shine for a period of time, and then hopefully we can get out before
In
they rally us
theory,
up.
that's what you could say. You view America that way, but in fact, America is actually rather restricted right now, and not at all like that. And there's less fun to be had here because of all the paranoia and the media control. And
But there's a possibility that, and I think it's a reasonable possibility that, like the hyper bureaucratization of society that we've been undergoing for the past like 70 years is just barely getting into that phase where it goes from something recognizable into like in some sense a nightmare, but where all the bureaucracies are so fucking
I think like Italy went through a
overwrought
fascist
that
period, so
they kind of negate themselves. That's what I'm saying.
Italy's casual culture is in some way. I mean, first of all, they just love food, and wine. But after that, it's also rejection of the fascist totalitarianism that they had, and now they're just like fucking whatever.
In the tourist towns, but like everywhere else in Italy, like there's fascist regimes.
Oh, really?
There's in the middle of COVID, there's towns full of people going out and doing Hitler salutes to Nazi propaganda in the streets in 2020. Like,
damn.
Well,
there's fascism rampant through there. Like, I never saw, aside from Sudanese refugees that had to be there, like, I didn't see Asian people because they weren't welcome. I didn't see any other Americans because we weren't welcome. Like, I spoke with an accent and pretended that I was from fucking England because you're American, get the fuck out.
It's hilarious that there's a country that's so, like, out of touch that they're like, you know, to be good is if I was surrounded by Italians. Like, it's like if I was surrounded by the worst people of all time.
Well, like, don't get me wrong, Italian people are awesome.
No, they're great.
I'm
just kidding.
And their country fucking sucks. The way it's ran, it fucking sucks. And
dude, Americans are great. It's just their country is run like shit. Like, American culture fucking rules. Also, Italian culture. Everybody's culture on most levels is awesome. It's a delight to, be like in the bosom of, a well-developed culture. It's just that
I think that they thought when I got there that they thought I was going to like be a homeless guy that was going to be tapping into their resources and their public health care and like get onto the dole or the Italian version of it. But then once they found out that they're like, oh, like you're here and you're working with artists and musicians that are in town and like you're providing them a place and to go and record, or you're doing work for them.
Yeah, you're earning your spaghetti tickets.
Yeah, and like, so then they were like, oh, okay. Once they got past that, like, initial, like, he's an American, he's just gonna mooch off our fucking tits. Like,
was there any comedy there?
There was, but unless you spoke Italian or Turini, which is what the Gypsies speak, you would not get any stage time. Like I did time in Berlin and in Paris because everybody that went to the comedy shows was expats or kids in hostels. Like the hostel I stayed at in Germany, it was €7 a night, but I convinced the girl working at the counter, I was like, let me work while I'm here. You have a comedy night downstairs. I'm a comedian from America. And she's like, oh, she thought like I was like,
oh, you're from America.
Yeah,
great.
You're an American comedian. You must do it professionally. And I'm like, oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And so I would just go down and
like,
sign up for the open mic night, and they gave me a discount on my room until I wasn't staying in Berlin anymore. But like in Italy, unless you spoke Italian or Trini, they didn't want to hear you.
How long were you in Europe?
Like a year, I think. I went there. And I was heavily medicated when I went there and had...
On what?
Drugs that I shouldn't have been on. Like 60 milligrams of Adderall 3 times daily.
What? Holy fuck.
4 times...
You're talking to 2 amphetamine freaks, and we both said, whoa.
What the... Yeah.
4.5...
You got to go a long way before we...
4.5 milligrams Xanax 3 times daily.
Yeah.
100 milligrams Strattera.
God.
Twice daily.
Strattera and Adderall? Fucking why? What kind of... Who was your doctor?
Black Hawk Grundy Mental Health in Waterloo, Iowa. It's a county medical facility where they're sleep dealers. Like, you show up, you don't have to have any insurance. You say, I'm sad and I can't pay attention. You leave with...
He used to walk there from Milwaukee to get his prescriptions filled, back.
You would leave with a 90-day script for Adderall and a 90-day script for Xanax, and then they'd say, okay, come back in a month and tell us how you're doing.
When you say that, the name of that institute, say it again?
Black Hawk Grundy Mental Health.
It sounds like... I imagine a dilapidated Scooby-Doo style mansion where just a gaunt man in a lab coat.
No, it's just a legit office building. It's not the mental health facility where you're locked up. Like, I went because I was like sad about some other medical conditions I got, and I'm like, I'm kind of bummed out and I can't pay attention at work, and they just started pumping me full of this shit.
Oh, you're bummed out? How about 180 milligrams of amphetamine per day?
Yeah,
daily. Which will get you. That will get you to another country, whether you like it or not. We
don't believe in the XRs. We're gonna give you the IRs.
Hell yeah, dude.
Because we want to make sure that you're getting the maximum.
Yeah, you're getting that rush, dude.
And the XR's good. God, this place.
And
what paradise is this? Like the city of gold.
And it was all telecommuting. You'd sit in a room. You'd talk to a nurse on the screen she was
Charlie Sheen, and she would come on and she'd go, and listen, we got a lot of great stuff here.
You go they'd weigh you, they'd check your blood pressure, and she'd
I'm
sign
gonna
off
prescribe
on a
you
script.
40 milligrams of tiger blood.
And so I went over there. I'm like, fuck this, fuck my life. I'm gonna take my business, because my business I can do it from anywhere, and I'm gonna go over there where all my customers are.
What was your
anyway.
business?
Building synthesizers and guitar pedals.
That's right, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta make you build me a fucking guitar pedal. By the way, we'll do
I
that.
go
off
over
mic.
there to work with a bunch of bands. Like, I'm not gonna name drop, but a bunch of really
Feel free.
important
I mean, feel
people
free to name
sought
drop.
me out and they're like, yeah, you're gonna be over here, build this shit. And like, I would build them something, and then in exchange, like, let me stay at the studio while I'm building you this thing, and then the payment will be you pay for my train ticket to go to the next
right
job.
Yeah.
And that's what I did, and got some really bad health news, and I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go over there and wait to die. But when I went over there, I only had about 3 months left of my medication.
Which in real human terms is like 3 years of medication.
And
if you were
so-
taking them like a normal person.
So I was taking them as normal, and the medical facility back in Iowa that filled out all those scripts was like, yeah, while you're over there, just contact us. We'll have your mother come pick them up, and then she can FedEx you your medication.
That's insane.
And
dude.
I was like, that's fucking illegal, first of all, and my mom's not going to do that. And I didn't want to put her in that position, so I just stopped everything cold turkey when
Could
I
you
ran out.
give my mom?
No shit. You stopped taking over 200 milligrams of amphetamine a day cold turkey.
Yeah, and it was a real bad idea, because
Yeah.
the rest of my time in Europe was not fun, because
Can't imagine
for
it would
months
be.
I thought I was playing Grand Theft Auto 5, and that I was watching myself play this game. Like, I got involved with gypsies and was living in cars for a while. I lost all of my luggage in St. Petersburg, Russia, and I don't even remember being in Russia. There were,
Fucking Russia. What?
there was an incident, like
Showing you pictures with Vladimir Putin. You're
no,
like,
like
what?
I got contacted by the airline, and they're like, "Yeah, we have your bags," and I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Like, "Yeah, we removed your bags."
She's like
from,
angry about it.
from
Fuck
the,
you.
from the
you
private
want
plane,
bags.
and I'm like, "Where?"
Yeah, you mailed your bags.
I'm like,
with-
"Where?
for no-
What are you talking about?" And they're like, "Yeah, when you came to Russia and got off the plane, you
God
didn't
damn.
pick up your bags, and they're still here." And I'm like, "I don't remember being in Russia." And I looked at my passport; there was no stamp for Russia, but apparently I got on some plane with some people who lived in Milan, and they're like, "Let's go to Russia." And I went to fucking Russia, and ended up back in Milan. Didn't even realize that I was gone. Like, the psychosis that I went through, it's been like almost 2 years now, and I'm just starting to get out of that
like
psychosis.
clip back into
Yeah.
reality.
And it's taken hardcore ketamine infusions to start to get my mind back out of it.
yeah.
Thank God for ketamine.
Like, I was hearing voices, like I was seeing people turn into birds and then like fly away, and like I thought
Oh, you were
that-
talking to the Syrians. That's good.
Yeah, I thought that I was legit, like that I was the AI that was in control of Xbox Live. And like, I was like, I need money, so I'm going to go walk over here and steal this car, and then that will miraculously put money in my bank account. And like, I legit thought I was
That
playing
fucking
GTA, and like, I lost my fucking mind from all of these like psychological medications. And the doctors over there are like, we can't give you any of that stuff. Like, amphetamines, doctors don't prescribe that shit for ADD. We prescribe therapy because we're cool.
Yeah,
And
because we
Xanax, they're like, we don't even want that in our country.
Right.
So they're like, here, all we can do is have this rolling tobacco and smoke this when you are stressed
Yeah.
out. And
Yeah.
have a glass of wine every once in a while.
Yeah.
Enjoy the scenery. Have a good day.
You're like,
And
I'm coming
"All
off
right."
of amphetamine withdrawals. They're like, would you like a crust of bread? Could we interest you in some red sauce? Some
I did-
spaghetti
Maybe need some
bolognese?
meatballs.
To deal with coming down off of the amphetamines, I just bought Coke everywhere that I could get it, because
Sure.
cocaine, like when I first went to Europe, I went to Brussels, and Brussels is the cocaine capital of Europe. in Brussels, their
know.
motto for the city of Brussels is a town so boring even the pigeons are on cocaine. Because the only thing to do there is pigeon raise. Like people raise and breed pigeons, and then they feed them cocaine, so they're super fucking fast. And like all the water supply, there's coke in it, and you get off the train and you can go up to an 89-year-old woman and just be like, and she, here you go, and so you blow.
Doing key bumps with fucking.
And since I was such a fucking degenerate,
yeah,
like, and when all the accoutrement that I took over there, the aperitifs, if you will, you know, I had all kinds of rigs and paraphernalia and stuff, so I was just blasting off with coke to deal with coming off of the prescription amphetamines,
which will work. But I do feel like amphetamine like kind of works on it. I feel like it works on a different enough system that it would like it'll like get you by, but it won't like
And at the time, you know, that's what a logical person would think, but at the time, logic was completely out the fucking window. You know, I thought I was dating Jennifer Lawrence while I was over there. And it was really just this gypsy chick that kind of looked like her. Like, you know,
oh god damn
Boy, that sounds horrible.
You know, and like,
dude, what at the time you had to have been having a great time. You just like doing rails with homeless people and pigeons. You're dating.
I wasn't doing
movie
rails.
star
you steal
Jennifer.
a car and the cops are like, let's race.
That's the thing.
You're like, this really is Grand Theft Auto.
A logical person would have been like, yeah, let's do rails. But I was so fucking out of it. I was like, I'm going to bang this Belgian dope. Which the coke comes in and it's so fucking stepped on. You don't know what you're doing.
Fuck yeah.
And it had
good
been
point.
like years since I had done needle drugs, and I'm like, I'm in Europe. I'm killing myself anyway. I'm just letting this disease kill me. I'm going out. I'm going out fucking Nick Cage leaving Las Vegas style.
Fuck yeah, dude.
So I was just like, I'll take a gram. Bam. You know,
I just in that moment remembered why we're friends. Like Nick Cage leaving Las Vegas. I'm like, God, yeah, I forgot. We're kindred spirits.
That was my plan. Like I was like, I know all these bands and stuff, and like I can work for a little bit of money everywhere I go, and I can busk on the street. I'm taking my synths and I'm taking like all my music gear.
Yeah.
So I can just sit up on the street and make some money, or I can steal money from fountains, and I'm just gonna let the disease kill me. But then the psychosis kicked in.
What disease? Don't mind.
It's called pineoblastoma.
Is that?
Pineoblastoma causes secondary Parkinson's, and what it is a cyst or tumorous growth on your pineal gland. Mine is the latter of the two because I have the precursors in my DNA for cancer genes, and it's not something they can biopsy.
Right.
So it's considered a cancerous tumor on my pineal gland.
God damn.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up.
Well,
so
that's why you can't drink the tap water.
So like fluoride is bad. Like fluoride is what causes people that get cysts and cancer on their pineal glands is from eating it.
Sure
but
is.
basically when you're talking to me, I'm on a 24-hour DMT trip because my brain produces so much of it. I can't sleep. Like I'm constantly all fucked up. That's why I'm a high school dropout, but I get crazy jobs at science places. Like doing wacky shit, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Do you know an artist named Sean Thornton?
Yeah.
That dude has, it's probably not exactly what you're talking about, but I thought he had some pineal cancer.
Yeah, pineoblastoma, yeah.
He has the same
like
thing.
After I found out about it, I like looked into it, and like his was one of the names that came up of somebody that has it.
These are the paintings that you looked at on DMT, and you're like, this is just fucking stupid.
No, I looked at them when I was not on DMT.
Oh, okay.
No, and it wasn't that they were stupid. I was.
He paints these like they look like spiritual microchips or something. I don't know what the fuck they are.
And that's like.
No, I was mocking. When I was describing that, I was mocking you. I wasn't mocking the artist. He can do whatever he wants.
Like,
well, you're talking about whatever.
When I started getting symptoms and stuff, like I got really interested in like building my own circuits out of like nowhere. I'm like, I'm gonna build a guitar pedal one day,
right?
And like I was able to start looking at schematics and being like, I understand this, and I see energy flow through shit.
Right? How it? No, dude,
then when I read like actual text, I'm just like, what the? It takes me 4 hours to read an email from work. I can look at a schematic and be like, here's your problem. This is blah blah blah. I don't know what this is, but this will fix it.
I tried to get into pedal building, like very like.
It's advanced math.
Dude, like right away, as soon as I got into it, I was like, I do not have the patience. I do not have the mind to do this. Like even a simple pedal, I'm like, go fuck yourself. Like I just don't have the wherewithal to.
Yeah, and
it's a different language than
for some reason,
I'm capable of speaking.
All of a sudden, my brain, like something snapped in my brain, and I was able to do it. And like people were like, "Oh man, you're doing crazy shit. Come build shit for me."
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, out of the blue, had an electrical accident at work at an old job where I should have been killed.
Yeah.
Like flew across the room, 3-phase electricity. Look it up, how much power and amperage that is. It's a lot. You should be dead. And I went blind in an eye, went to a doctor, and
You see how vague he is?
Blind
in eye.
I actually went to my acupuncturist, and he was trying to get my pulse, and he's like, you have 2 heart rates right now. What happened? And I showed him this big giant electrical burn on my back, and he's like, go to the hospital right now.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I'm fine. And he's like, go to the hospital right now. I can't get
You
your heart
did
rate.
so much DMT that you can.
And
you defeated electricity.
Well, and I went to the emergency room, and they're like, what happened? And I showed them my back, and they put me on heart monitors, and they're like, you should be fucking dead. Like, we're going to get the fire marshal in here, the electrical inspector.
This is how
we got
doctors
people want
talk.
to talk to you.
Do you understand how doctors talk? They go, you should be dead. We're going to work on it.
Yeah. And they,
Well, we got a guy on.
Listen, you should be dead, and let's see if we can do anything about that.
They're like, we have no idea how you survived that. And I'm like, well, I got rubber on my shoes. And they're like, that's the only thing that it could have been. And then I left.
Also, I have a satellite on my pineal gland that absorbs electricity.
Yeah.
I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
They sent me to an eye doctor because they're like, we can't figure out why getting zapped with electricity would make your eye freak out. And so I go
Because what you did is you just routed it. You just routed the electricity through your body further up the tree of life to
and
catheter or wherever.
So
it
I go to
goes.
the eye doctor, and the doctor's like, I can't explain why you can't see anything. Your eye works, but it's just, is it just black? And I'm like, yeah, all I see is, it's like somebody's covering my eye.
Yeah.
And he's like, your eye is working, functioning, so I'm going to go and have you do an MRI with contrast. And they pump you full of barium or whatever and do an MRI. And like 2 days later, he was like, hey, man, I think I figured it out. You've got a cyst on your pineal gland. And he's like, here's what your pineal gland does. And I'm like, dude, I know what it does. I do drugs.
Yeah.
Like,
I learned science for different reasons than you, but I
and
did
so
learn
he was
it.
like, you need to go to a neurologist. And like, I had all these. And they're like,
Don't yell jokes off mic. It's fucking it's bad form.
So I go to a neurologist, and he's like, yeah, that's what explains why you got this misdiagnosis for the twitchiness, and like doctors thought you had Parkinson's for like years.
Yeah, dude, I remember. I think when we were in Fort Collins, dude, I remember you thinking that you had Parkinson's, but you were also like confounding doctors, I believe.
And
at the time,
they were filling me
You
with all
have
these
Parkinson's.
drugs.
You need to talk to this paleontologist
over
here. He will tell you what type of dinosaur you're going to become.
We think that you have Parkinson's. We have machine elves that we'll send you to that'll.
Yeah, so then the doctors
straighten that
were pumping me full of that medication, which actually makes you worse if you don't have that disease.
Whoa. Medicine that makes you worse?
Yeah.
What is going on?
What,
on the podcast right now.
And
I've never heard of that.
And so, like, long story short, I was given a time limit. They were like, you got 6 months. I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to Europe.
Yeah, no,
And
that's
went over there and then had this psychosis and then came back. And then now that I'm back here and doctors are telling me, like, it's manageable with treatment. Like, we can do SPD-T treatment. We don't have to do surgery.
See, and people say that I look at the world through rose-tinted glasses, but I'd like to believe that months of stealing cars and doing cocaine actually improved your condition.
Well, I wasn't.
It's called shadow work.
I wasn't just doing cocaine. Like, I did that for the first couple of months, and then
it's called homeopathy.
What I actually had done was I missed my vein a few times.
Mm-hmm.
And so under my skin, there was just a big abscess on my hand that swelled up. And every time I would bump it into something, I would get a blast of like, oh, I'm on coke.
That's
but
fucking...
after the first couple months, I graduated
You
from...
installed a cocaine switch in your own fucking hand?
Yeah, it was really bad.
God, I feel so bad for you. This
It
whole
almost got
story.
infected, and then I got sepsis up my arm. And it
Oh,
was-
that part sounds
Well,
bad.
whatever.
My kidney shut down.
But, like, psychedelic truffles are legal there. So you go into a
Yeah.
smart shop, and you just buy
sure.
an ounce's truffles for like 14 euros and put them in your pocket, and you just eat them for months. That's what I was doing. And, like, had been no alcohol since like 2009, and I was like drinking absinthe by the bottle, wandering around the streets. I was on a path of, I was just like, I'm Nick Cage in it.
Nick Cage, yeah, dude.
It
No,
is
I'm telling you,
incredible.
that's like I have so much fucking respect for that. That's
And it didn't work. It didn't work.
Yeah, that's
In Holland, there is no social judgment of being fucked up in public, tripping in public, fucked up in any way in public. I like, they don't care.
They don't, but their drugs suck.
Do they?
Wow.
They suck. The weed sucks. I went into
The weed does suck.
the coffee shop, and the guy behind the counter, he's like, "Where are you from?" And I was like, "Colorado." And he's like, "Why are you here?"
Yeah.
Why?
He's like, "This
that's
is."
true.
He's like, "This will not compare."
No, that'd be sweet for me, dude. I would love
You get
that.
those,
Like,
in the smart shops, when you get those truffles, the Tampensis or whatever, and you eat the whole pack, that's trip on that.
Yeah, that's.
Well,
you can, if you microdose, like,
If
you
I-
just eat a couple truffles a day. I mean, it's fucking wonderful. It's better than mushrooms, in my opinion.
Yeah,
But then you can also go into the smart shop, and right next to it, you can buy a little kit to make your own DMT. You can buy Harmony and fucking Mimosa Hostilis, and like the guy will give you the instructions. Like, all you got to do is mix these two things together and pour this over it, which you can grab right here, and then you'll have enough to smoke for the night. It's like, okay,
Wow.
I'm gonna do that. But a lot of the
It
good
just goes
quality
to show
drugs,
you've got a whole country where people are smoking tryptamines and should be talking to Shiva every day. And what do they come up with culturally? They go, we need vending machines of prostitutes.
yeah.
That's their big cultural innovation.
Well, and
From
like,
all of that smoking God.
literally in Europe, all the quality drugs that I did over there, I brought with me from America.
yeah. Well, no, this
I had
my point there. They're like things that they've done correctly in terms of like, not having like some sort of like shame matrix for when people are fucked up in public or
Which
like
that's
a
wonderful.
lax.
I don't know.
That's
truly,
great.
to be riding a bike, fucked up on mushrooms, smiling at people in a way that in America would get the police called.
Oh yeah.
And
Right.
everyone's
Just like, oh, he's
"Look at
having
him.
fun. He's
having
not
fun."
hurting anyone.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but that's the thing is like there is also something to be said about like the unbridled, productive mindset and like industriousness of America that does probably always will produce better drugs.
And,
Like,
well,
it
that was the
just
thing.
does.
Over there, they're in Europe. They
Yeah,
have
we
the mindset.
we for sure have
of-
better meth here.
They're under their mindset.
Probably. I'm.
They
who
say
knows?
The
no,
Japanese have the
no,
best meth.
No,
Who has the best?
Who has
meth?
the best meth?
Munich.
Really?
Munich.
Okay, we'll find the Germans.
it's
but the
fucking-
Japanese.
Crystal clear shards of fucking glass that you don't even have to touch it. You can take it on foil and just smell it. And 3 days, you're just up, and it's super clean because like in cities like Munich and Berlin, you go out dancing on Wednesday, you are done dancing on Monday when you go to work. Like,
Yeah.
You go to a party, you're there 3 days minimum. Like every dance.
Give me a
club
second
you
to
go
smash down my boner, tuck
you-
it under my belt.
You go into a club, you pay €5.
God damn, that
and
sounds awesome.
4 days, you're done dancing, and you can go to different levels of the clubs, and it's like, okay, this is just drinking, this is other things, this is other things, and then this is fucking debauchery.
Right. This is.
And we'll see you
temple.
Monday at work, you know.
We'll see.
But I think
It's literally Dante's Inferno. in
It's
a
like
fucking
9 levels.
skyscraper.
And do you know where I lived in Italy? Ravenna. It's home of Dante,
That's fucking great. Yeah.
who wrote the Divine Comedy.
course.
I hung out. They have his tomb.
Of course.
Like,
Yeah.
that's the biggest tourist attraction is you go and you see Dante's grave and you see the church, and then you get the fuck out of Ravenna.
Yeah.
But I think the mentality over there is the people are like, he's not hurting anybody. If he's on drugs, the only person he's hurting is himself, and I don't give a fuck. Over here, people are like, oh, you're hurting yourself. you're on drugs, you're hurting yourself. You could be just sitting on a couch and people are like, oh no, you're hurting.
No. You got to understand what it really is. They're going, he's hurting the economy. They don't give a fuck if you hurt yourself.
Well,
It's all
dude,
commerce.
no.
All crime
That's
is commercial.
You're
crime.
wrong. I think you're wrong because, dude, if they gave nobody gives a fuck about the economy. They really don't. If they gave a fuck about the economy, our economy wouldn't be like a shadow fiat shambles that it is.
No.
They don't give a fuck.
All we care about is the economy.
No.
They shut it off,
We give a fuck
and the
about
stock
production.
market went up.
We give a fuck about production. We don't give a fuck about. That's the problem with like Puritan work ethic, which is what this country was founded on. Is you don't give a fuck about what you produce. It just matters that you're producing. If we gave a fuck about the economy, we wouldn't have the insane.
But you're both right because
non-economy that we have.
Like, that's the view of the people. The people who care about the economy are the ones that are in charge.
Right. This is
so
the
they're
elite.
not.
The elite is all the
yeah.
Right.
So they're not.
Well,
really,
this gets right. This is always the dynamic. He's the elitist.
That's why they're not putting money into treatment.
Populist shill.
They're not putting into. They don't put the money into treatment because they just care about the economy. When citizens are like, we need to get these people help.
Right.
And over there, like in certain cities and certain countries, you can be like, yeah, I need a place to shoot up. And they're like, hey, here's a fresh needle. Go in this room.
Right.
Someone will come check on you. And when you're done, please leave.
Right. But at the same time, they don't have.
Here, that is a crime against the economy. It's not.
In some cities over there, you get caught. Say you get caught with a bag of cocaine. And if it's a small amount and you're just like, oh, I'm on a boys' night. I'm just out with my friends. You're not really doing much trouble to hurt anyone. The police will actually do a reagent test to test the purity of your drugs.
To make sure you're like doing good drugs.
Let's get some better shit out of the car here.
To make sure that you're good. And if you have bunk, they'll be like, we'll destroy
this is a very, very bad
or they'll say,
cocaine.
oh, really good Charlie, and hand you the bag back. The only thing.
Where'd you get that?
The only thing in any country they ever had a problem with was MDMA. They
had it legal in Holland up until 2008.
Right. And like if you got caught with, that was the only thing that you didn't want to get caught with was, and everyone told me that, and all the police would come up to me and they're like, do you have Molly? Do you have Molly? KS2 Molly. KS2 Molly. And it's like, no, I don't have it. And
you have to call it Mandy over there.
That's only in, like in the UK.
Yeah.
And that tells you another
that
prejudice.
Place like the plague.
They're okay giving you a needle to go pass out in a bathroom stall, but you're taking a powder that makes you love everything unconditionally.
Right. No. That was the one weird thing.
I don't think so. That's where we draw the line.
And that's actually like at times when I got hard up for money, like that's what I was doing. I was selling fake Molly to American tourists.
What were you selling them?
A tissue soaked in fucking nail
if you don't
polish
mind.
remover.
This is what you do. You would go to a smart shop and buy clear glycerin gel tabs. Right? And then you go to McDonald's and you get packets of sugar in the raw. And you crush them up and you put them in the pill.
So it look kind of brown.
It looks kind of brown. It tastes kind of sweet.
This
Love
is so
it.
fucked up.
Love it.
This is so fucked
I
up.
love
sweet.
this.
Then you go up to
This is a
American
crime against
tourists,
humanity.
and you just make
See,
sure.
this is what I'm saying because you respect the economy.
No,
Fuck
I
the
respect
economy.
Molly. I don't give
Why?
a fuck about the economy because it's a wonderful drug.
I respect Molly when it's
but you have to understand.
pertains to me.
Stupid American
no,
tourists.
whatever. I mean, you got to make your money back.
You're empathizing with
I remember trying to buy
retarded
drugs
American
in
trust.
Amsterdam. I tried to buy Molly in Amsterdam, and a dude goes, yeah. Takes me behind, like, just late at night, probably 3 a.m. I'm walking around. I don't know where the fuck I am, red light district. Guy takes me behind a building. He goes, all right, I got it. I go, all right, can I see it? He goes, he keeps saying the price over and over again. I go, can I see it? He literally takes a tissue out of his pocket. I go, what is that? He's like,
Yeah, it's a watered up ball.
it's just fucking tissue. I don't know what's in. Like, I'm like, that's not what I'm asking for. Show it to me.
Never buy drugs
then
off
I go,
the street.
then I go, literally, I go, all right, I don't want to buy that. He goes, well, you got to give me like €12 for this time I just wasted. I just wasted time out of my day. I'm like, I'm not giving you fucking €12. I start walking. He's walking behind
following
me.
you,
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm like, this motherfucker. Thankfully, I'd tripped in that city a few times already, so I
you
knew
knew where
all
you're going.
kinds of little channels
Yeah.
and shit to get away.
That's you can't, when you're in Europe anywhere, you can't buy drugs on the street because you're probably gonna get ripped off by somebody that's Romani, which is a gypsy. It, like,
a lot of African dudes selling cocaine and other
yeah,
shit when I
because
was
it comes up from the Morocco and goes to Belgium, and then from Belgium it gets out to the Netherlands and everything. But it's ridiculously stepped on.
I'm sure that was the only shit they had too. They didn't have anything else. They acted like they had everything, but all they had was coke when I was there.
You got to go to Bologna. Get off the train and there's people with little, what you'd see in New York, guys playing 3-card monte or selling fake Rolexes. That got 3 bags, and you're like, I want this.
Like, I want cocaine. They're like, guess what shell it's under? Like, all right, fuck.
Yeah, it's fucking let's make a deal.
Yeah.
And you're going, how about the one door I didn't open? What's back there?
Are you still making guitar pedals?
I'm considering starting my business back up. Now that like I have this job. The only problem is like I kind of do the same stuff at my job.
What is your job?
I work at a place called Bridge Diagnostics, and I am.
It's called the Umbrella Corporation. It's
basically like when they build a bridge, like you have to have monitoring systems to test vibrations and for cracks and stuff. Mm-hmm. And like I build that equipment that monitors all that shit. And I have no idea what I'm doing, but apparently I'm good at it. And they sell stuff. They'll sell sensors to like SpaceX to put on their ships. And it's weird because
you really should be designing your own transhumanist chips to implant in people's wrists.
That's
so that we can
the
learn
one thing
what the power lines are saying at any given moment.
One thing I was working on before, the last thing I was working on in Europe before I had my mental snap and had to be rescued by my family was actually an organic synthesizer that's made out of completely like organic parts from like dead animals and like dirt and shit. And that was like my big project that I was working on that I'd like to get started here. That it's actually a musical device that you can control with your body and your emotions without touching anything.
All right,
I saw a TED
that sounds
talk
great
on a similar thing. There's a woman who's...
That sounds equally great and menacing at the same time to me, but
But like
you were doing...
But my pedals and stuff, I would do shit like...
How much of those pedals was like... Were you outsourcing to other people, or was that all you?
It was all me. I didn't
Dude,
outsource anything.
So he was like doing pedals, and I can't account for the sound of the pedal, but like the guitar pedal like market is obviously like
it's insane.
It's insane. It's fucking
nuts. Like everybody's doing it. Like
right, and like a lot like they're anything from like what the fuck's that company? The something bread.
Catalina bread.
Yeah, Catalina bread that makes like cheap shit. And there's another company like under them that does like clones of
their own pedals
like they do they're like a fuzz clone pedal
like,
and they'll for like $15. But then you get up into like more and more. So you have like
2 years ago, a designer, a main designer at a guitar pedal company got fucking murdered. Like
for sure.
Yeah, because
dude, how much is like a vintage like vintage fuzz face? That's got to be like up there.
A few $100.
Few $100. Yeah. What's like the most expensive like pedal that you?
Well, I've had people pay me fucking thousands of dollars for a circuit that they're going to use once in a song.
Damn, dude! But, like he was putting out like you put out a pedal that was called Swamp Thing. If I think I remember the thing. Okay,
yeah.
But it had like this dope like etching into the metal.
Yeah, all that.
It like legitimately great like art onto the metal of the pedal board.
Yeah,
and then
nobody will ever see it.
No, you'll see it the whole time. Like that's the pedal.
Well, that's the thing is like
where you put your foot.
Yeah, I mean nobody else. You'll see
hit it. You touch it once,
but it's still like that's to retard guitarists like me. That's everything. It's like it's still aesthetic and it's fucking.
I never made somebody would be like, give me a distortion pedal. Like I was like, go fucking buy one.
Yeah, go.
Tell me what kind of sound. Give me an idea of what the sound you want to sound like that you've never been able to create.
I want that high pitch right when the DMT kicks in. That whoo,
Yeah, that's
like, literally, dude.
That's what customers would tell me. Like one customer, a guy in Italy, was like, when I close my eyes, I picture millions of wasps in a mailbox that's on fire, and I open it.
Yeah,
and then I would build something based on that.
This is what I picture every morning.
But that's a. I know you're not like a guitarist, but that is like an insanely great way to look at building pedals. Because
all of my circuits, I never made another. I never copied one of my circuits. So if somebody bought.
You like destroy the.
If somebody got one of my pedals, like my company is called Built Then Burnt. Like I would build the pedal, I would burn artwork into the aluminum enclosure, and then all my notes and schematics that I designed myself, I would burn them and then give them to
so it's not reproducible.
So never
and then like
it's kind of a fuck you to the music culture right now, which is very much what can we reproduce
all the time.
It's like, how do I get this gated reverb sound that fucking Kanye's getting? And
right,
like,
right. How can I sound like Josh Homme? It's like, no, find something else and figure out. And that's the thing is like you also figured out another way to because
there's something Buddhist about that. It's like the Buddhist sand painting, where you spend a year making this masterpiece, and then the moment it's completed, you swipe it all into the trash bin.
That's what nobody fucking understood, except for like the people that I built stuff for. People were always coming up to me and they're like, "You should mass produce these. It's going to be so cheap for you to get."
Somebody's knocking on my hold on.
Hire some kids from China to design your schematics and make PCBs and mass produce these. You'll be a millionaire. I'm like, fuck that. I want one guy to say on his record to have a sound and be like, no one's ever going to be able to recreate that. And then when people say, how did you get that sound? Oh, I talked to this crazy dude, Joshua, that just built something out of his ass. He has no experience, no training in electrical engineering, but he just sat down and did this thing, you know. And and people didn't understand that it was a Buddhist thing. And my family hated that I was doing it. My family hated that I wasn't like I was building these things, and they're like, mass produce them. Like, why don't you have it be a legit business? Why are you just doing commissions and one single clients and stuff? I'm like, because once I build the thing, it's not my art anymore. It's somebody else's art.
Right. It's turning. It's the difference between a product and art.
Yeah.
Like you took. Honestly, like this sounds like melodramatic probably to some degree, but it really is like taking this form of pedals, which is now at the historically is at the height of mass production, and which is robbing it of any like kind of decency or probably a lot of fun, but like you are in the process of like reclaiming it as an art form.
Yeah, like
do you know what I mean? It's
you sound like a savant at this stuff. Which is why you should not be working for this bridge detection.
Well, that's how I got the job with them. They're like, "You fix stereos? Here, we'll come work for you." And like the job I had before that, and the job I had before that, they're like, "You don't have any college training, but like you obviously can do this stuff, so just fucking do it." Like before I had this job, I was telling you last night, I'm a high school dropout, have no college to my name. Before I was working at this job, I was a robust test engineer for Jaguar Land Rover United States of America.
They put you in the car, then they crash it?
They put me in the car, and I programmed.
It's a test engineer.
I programmed the sensors to make sure that the autonomous driving stays on the road, and like make sure that your touch screen and shit works. And like before that, I was building X-ray machines for doctors' offices, and like I've done a lot of shit. Like I don't know how I get these jobs. Like they're just like, you can do this, do it.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
It's that bizarre button on your pineal gland.
Yeah.
And like guitar pedals moved up to modular synthesizers, and then from modular synthesizers to building whole like mixing consoles for people.
To building a animal carcass electric organ.
It's actually not going to be animal carcass. It's going to be as much human donated material as possible.
All
like,
right.
and that's the thing. I did weird shit. Like for one of my clients,
Just watching, like, by the because he's on. I'm pretty
It's
sure
a
he's
marimba made of cow shit.
I'm pretty sure he's in frame of this camera. No, it's fine. No, you're good. It's just hilarious to watch your face just like bloom like a flower as he said donated human flesh.
But like,
you were like fucking
not. There won't be any.
Fucking ruled.
There's not going to be any flesh, but like you can from science medical research centers you can buy an actual human skeleton because it's cheaper to buy a human skeleton than it is to buy a plaster.
Yeah, you need to make a fucking guitar pedal that's a real spleen that I can step on.
That's been done before.
It's been
That's hack,
But like
man.
one thing I did, like a family member of mine works for the government and had to go to one of the Koreas for work.
I'm not going to say
for a
which
few
one
months.
for political
I
reasons.
can't say either, but they procured me some dirt from Korea that happened to be radioactive.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had a Geiger counter, I could test it, and I built my capacitors out of this radioactive dirt from North Korea, and I gave it to my customer. He's like, "How did you get it to sound like this?" I'm like, "You don't want to touch it with your bare hands too much. It's legit radioactive." He's like, "No way!" And then I showed him videos of me.
When you
making
finish
these
the
things.
album, throw this shit away.
Yeah, it has to be put in a lead container and buried,
Deep
hope-
under the
preferably at sea.
And the funny thing was, you're not gonna believe this, but when flying from DIA to Brussels, I was soldering the thing on the plane with a USB powered soldering iron. They let me
That
fucking
fucking rules.
solder on the plane. I'm making all this lead smoke and shit, and I've got a little fucking stabby thing that's 800 and some degrees, and the lady's like, "Yeah, go ahead, do
They're
your
like,
thing."
we're landing. Could
awesome.
you put your tray table up?
Sir, could you please stop soldering?
So I'm just sitting there. I had an 18-hour flight from DIA to Brussels with a layover.
Can you
in
put that
Copenhagen.
soldering iron in airplane mode?
And
Because
I'm just sitting there soldering away on this plane, and the guy next to me is like, "Wow, that's really. What are you doing? Like making jewelry?"
That's great.
making jewelry.
All right, dude. Well, little Aspie's here for
We
some.
got
I
another
didn't-
savant in the building.
Didn't realize
so.
he was. So we'll cut this off. We'll have you back on soon because we didn't even get to how you got kicked out of Italy. So we'll have you back on and we'll
Well,
go through
I-
all the. Don't. We'll do another one. We can talk to you all
We'll be
day,
back.
dude. All right. Do you have anything you want to plug? I'm kidding.
I guess
None of us do.
not, until I start doing comedy again, which I'm hoping to soon. I guess check out my Instagram. That
Yeah,
if you're
we have
interested in
to.
my guitar pedals and stuff.
Yeah,
like,
I'll
you can go on
invest.
there, but-
I'll invest money into Built Then Burnt. We have to get that company back going. Anyway.
Pyrrhic pedals at Instagram.edu.
All right. Bye.